Hello and welcome back to my RC channel. I'm Andy RC and today I'm going to be taking a look at a budget option for going down the KISS route. So recently I've been flying my Alien and it has got the KISS ESCs, we've got the Mr. Steel PDB and the KISS V2 flight controller, and when you add it all up it's a very expensive setup. And I was looking at if there was maybe a cheaper option and I found this guy. This is the iFlight KISS all-in-one flight controller, and it is a legitimate licensed through Flyduino product that has been made by iFlight. And the making of this video, I think it costs $39.99, which is actually $1 more than the KISS V1, and actually the internals of this are really the KISS V1, so it's an F3 flight controller, but it is a lot more than that, because if you take a look, it's also a power distribution board, and you can't see it, but it's also got a built-in on-screen display as well, which is something that KISS has not managed to do themselves yet. Now, because of that, there is actually no setup for it in the KISS GUI, so there is a downside to this, and we have got this separate board here. And this separate board has got a couple of functions. The first one is, you can see we've got a USB connector there, and then in here as well, I'll just take everything out. So we've got a XT60 connector, which is quite nice, and then we've got these two JST connectors here. So to change the on-screen display, which is multi-wii on-screen display, so you can flash any version of it to it. It's very easy actually. So this plugs in here like so, and then we have got two connections here. This is for a 4-in-1 ESC, so yes, you can still use KISS ESCs if you like, and also a 4-in-1 ESC board, and this plugs into here like so. And then we have got this little jumper here, and when it is on, it's for programming the ESCs, and then when it's off, it is for programming the on-screen display. And you just have to get multi-wii on-screen display. I think it came with version 1.9. It did need flashing, and that's very simple as well. I've also flashed the flight controller using the Diffuse demo program, which is how you flashed the V1 anyways. So they call it keep it super simple. That's what they say KISS stands for. What I tend to find is actually the hardware part of it is not simple at all, but once you have got it all set up, then it's the configurator and just how well it flies that is very simple, and that is why I really like it. So some people would argue that, you know, the thing that makes KISS great isn't just the flight controller, it's the ESCs as well. I think the idea of this is to have this flight controller, and then you can have your copter flying like KISS, and then you can maybe buy some cheaper ESCs, because the ESCs are really expensive for KISS. It comes with this diagram here as well, and it shows you how everything should be connected. I really like this one here. Interesting, it mentions that you can use Crossfire. You have to upgrade to the latest version for the V1 flight controller for that, otherwise Crossfire isn't an option. And the one thing that this has got missing is it does not have a 9-volt or 7-volt regulator. It's got a 5-volt, and I think it's rated for 2 amps. So I guess you could run a Unify off that, but really you're going to be running your VTX from VBAT, I would say, which of course means that you don't have as much filtering. Now in the instructions, it's interesting how they have said how you program the ESCs. Can you see we have got the signal wire soldered to the other end of this here, and then it's going into this board. So let me just put the jumper back on here. So yeah, this connects in there like that, and the way that this is describing it, so this is to change your motor direction and things like that. They are saying that you will have to cut this off and then solder to your signal wire, but this fits perfectly into the 4-in-1 ESC connector, and everything matches up. I just wonder if the fact that KISS uses like a serial number system will stop you being able to use this as a pass-through. I know if you connect KISS ESCs up to this, then the pass-through works fine and you don't have to do any of this. But yeah, I think this was the original idea, and that would be great. So you've got this on your copter, all your ESCs are already soldered up to the signal pads there, and then if you want to go into BL Heli Suite, this is how you would do it. Their diagram is suggesting different, so yeah, maybe there is an issue with using the 4-in-1 connector there to get the signal through. If I remember, when you tried to use pass-through with KISS, you couldn't because of the serial number issues. So iFlight actually have their own ESCs that they recommend for this, and I've got those here. They are called the iPeaker, I think, and they sell those on their website. Quite nice. We've got some individual capacitors here, and then we have got the tiny ESCs here, and you can see they are a 3 to 6S, and all of this is 3 to 6S as well, so that's quite nice. And then we have got some cables in here for all of your soldering and stuff as well, so I think that's what I'm going to use for this setup. But for now, I thought I would just show you, if you are interested in getting KISS on your copter and you don't want to invest in a Mr. Steel PDB, you don't want to spend 100 GBP on the ESCs, but you may have seen flight videos and there's just something about KISS that flies really nice. So this is another option, and then you can use whatever other components you like and get the price down. So lastly, I just want to show you everything working. So I've got it connected to the normal USB port there, and we've got COM31, so I can connect to it there, and you can see that I'm using the latest version for this flight controller, which is RC36i. Now you'll notice that unlike with KISS V2, you cannot flash the flight controller from here, and this is the downside of this, is you have to use the diffuse demo and you have to flash it. So you have a button on the flight controller that puts it into DFU mode, and then you open this program and it will show up there as a device. Then you click choose on here, and then what you have to do is you have to download that file, which is there, and then that will flash to that, and you'll be able to get the latest version. I did that, you know, just in case I want to use Crossfire. You see that wasn't there. And then over here as well, you can see that the highest it goes is D-Shot 600. So looks like they never did 1200 for the V1, or it just maybe wasn't fast enough for it. But if we go into the advanced settings here, you can see that we've got all of the same options here pretty much as the KISS V2, and it's all of this filtering here that KISS does very well with the flying. So yeah, we can, you know, make use of that. And then, you know, I have got the board here, it's just sort of dangling, but if I move it around you can see that working there as well. And then we've got the rates and the TPA. So if I just disconnect from that, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take the USB connector, I'm going to plug it into the extension cable, and then remove the boot short that is on there. It's just a little plastic thing. And then if I go into multi-wii on-screen display, then it should show up as a COM3 here, and make sure that you've got the baud rate or baud rate, however you want to say it, to that, and then press connect. Now I had to flash it first of all. There was nothing on there, but as you can see there, that everything is showing up, and you can just move your on-screen display around like that. But it's quite simple to flash, just have to go into here, and then flash, and then select the version, select the device, so it's be minim OSD, and then you can do this. You can also flash the KISS OSD straight to it as well. In fact, they detail that in the instructions, so just like my Mr. Steel PDB, I can have exactly the same on-screen display as that. So until I put it on a copter, I will leave it there, and I'll put a link in the below if you wish to get one. So as always, thanks so much for watching. Please continue to subscribe. Cheers.